The marriage broker's voice was clinical, detached, like she was discussing the weather instead of destroying what remained of his dignity. "I'm sorry, Mr. Kang, but Miss Park has declined. That's the 18th rejection this month." Kang Seojun stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of his penthouse office, his reflection staring back at him from the glass. At 34, he should have been at the peak of his power. CEO of Kang Industries, the largest pharmaceutical empire in South Korea, heir to a fortune that could buy small countries. His face had been called handsome by business magazines, his intelligence lauded by economists, his success envied by every man in Seoul. But none of it mattered. Not the money, not the power, not the carefully constructed image. Because everyone knew the truth that lived beneath his expensive Tom Ford suits, the scars that no amount of wealth could erase. Did she give a reason? His voice was flat, emotionless. He'd learned years ago not to show pain. Pain made people uncomfortable. The marriage broker hesitated. She said she couldn't imagine waking up next to that face every day. That face, 2 words that had defined his existence for the past 8 years, ever since the car accident that had killed his parents and left him with burns covering the right side of his face and neck. The plastic surgeons had done what they could, 7 surgeries over 3 years, but some things couldn't be fixed. The scarred skin pulled tight from his temple to his jaw, distorting his features. His right eye drooped slightly. His smile, when he dared attempt one, was crooked, grotesque. "I see," Seojun said quietly. "Thank you for your efforts, Mrs. Choi. You can stop now. I won't be requiring your services anymore." "Mr. Kang, perhaps if we widen the search, there are many women who would overlook physical appearance for financial security." "You mean women who would close their eyes and think of money while lying in my bed?" The bitterness in his voice surprised even him. "No, thank you. I'd rather be alone." He ended the call and stood there in the silence of his empire, surrounded by luxury and achievement and absolute loneliness. His grandfather's ultimatum echoed in his mind. Produce an heir within the year, or the company goes to your cousin Minho. The Kang family needs continuity, Seojun. Personal feelings are irrelevant. Personal feelings. As if his face was just a personal feeling and not the thing that made women look away in restaurants, made children stare and point, made every potential bride find convenient excuses to decline. The door to his office opened without a knock. Only one person had that privilege. "Bad news?" Park Ji-won, his CFO and only real friend, entered with 2 glasses of whiskey. "The usual news." Seojun took the offered glass. "Rejection number 18. I'm thinking of starting a collection. Maybe frame them like art. You know, you could just marry someone willing to sign a contract. Business transaction, no emotions involved." "My grandfather wants a real marriage, real heir. He's very traditional about bloodlines and love." Seojun laughed, the sound hollow. "He doesn't seem to understand that love requires someone willing to look at you." Ji-won was quiet for a moment. "Have you considered that maybe you're looking in the wrong places? These socialites, these wealthy daughters, they're shallow. They've never struggled, never known real hardship. Maybe you need someone who understands that beauty isn't everything. And where exactly do I find this mythical person? The looks don't matter dating app? I'm serious. Stop trying to marry someone from your world. Your world is full of people who've never had to see past surfaces." Ji-won set down his glass. Marry someone real. Someone who knows what it's like to be judged for something they can't control. Before Seojun could respond, his intercom buzzed. His secretary's voice crackled through. Mr. Kang, there's an issue with the housekeeping service. The new maid is here, but well, the building manager is refusing to let her up. Seojun frowned. Why? A pause. He says she doesn't look like she belongs here. Mr. Kang, she's black. The manager says she must be lost or lying about working here. The rage that flooded through Seojun was instant and absolute. Tell the manager he's fired. Send her up immediately, and someone find me a new building manager within the hour. Yes, sir. Jiwon raised an eyebrow. That was fast. I won't tolerate discrimination in my building. Seojun's jaw clenched. I know what it's like to be judged for how you look. 5 minutes later, there was a hesitant knock on his office door. When Seojun called for her to enter, the woman who walked in changed everything. Welcome back, my fierce hearts and midnight dreamers. Before we dive deeper into this story, make sure you're subscribed and hit that like button. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love seeing our dark romance family stretch across continents. Every like, every comment, every share helps us keep bringing these forbidden love stories to life. So grab your favorite drink, find your quiet corner, and get comfortable. Because what happens next between a scarred billionaire and a maid who sees past his face? Trust me, you don't want to miss a single word. Now, let's continue. Zara Williams had learned early in life that survival meant keeping your head down and your expectations lower. At 28, she'd mastered the art of invisibility, a useful skill for a black woman trying to make it in Seoul, where she was always too different, too visible, too foreign. She stood in Seojun's office doorway now, her heart hammering, very aware that she was probably about to lose the job she'd only just gotten. The building manager's words still stung. People like you don't work in buildings like this. You're probably trying to steal something, but she needed this job. Desperately. The rent on her tiny gosiwon was due in 3 days. Her mother's medical bills back in Atlanta were piling up faster than Zara could wire money home. And her student visa was expiring in 2 months, which meant she had exactly 8 weeks to find legitimate work sponsorship or return to the US, with nothing to show for 2 years in Korea except debt and broken dreams. I'm sorry to disturb you, Mr. Kang. Her Korean was fluent. She'd spent 2 years studying at Yonsei University before her scholarship money ran out. The agency sent me. I'm your new housekeeping service. I can come back another time if this is inconvenient. The man behind the desk turned to face her, and Zara's breath caught. Not because of the scars. She'd seen burn victims before during her volunteer work at Grady Memorial Hospital back home. Her father had been a firefighter. She knew what fire could do to human skin. No, what caught her breath was his eyes. Dark, intelligent, burning with barely suppressed fury that she instinctively knew wasn't directed at her. You're not inconveniencing me, he said, his voice deep and measured. Please, sit. Zara hesitated. In her experience, wealthy people didn't ask the help to sit. They gave orders, pointed at things that needed cleaning, and pretended you didn't exist beyond your function. I really should start working. I'm sure you're busy. I'm Kang Seojun. He gestured to the chair across from his desk. And I'd like to apologize for what just happened downstairs. The building manager has been terminated. It won't happen again. Shock rippled through her. You fired him? Because of me? Because he's a bigot. Seojun's expression was hard. I don't employ bigots. The agency told you the position details? Zara nodded, still processing that a man she'd met 30 seconds ago had just fired someone for discriminating against her. Live-in housekeeper for your penthouse. 5 days a week, room and board included. They said the previous person quit suddenly. She quit when she saw my face. The words were matter of fact, but Zara heard the pain underneath. Walked in, saw me, and walked right back out. Didn't even stay for the interview. Zara met his eyes directly. Then she was an idiot. Seojun blinked, clearly not expecting that response. Most people would agree with her assessment. Most people are cowards who judge books by damaged covers. Zara stood up, suddenly angry on behalf of this stranger. Your face tells a story of survival, Mr. Kang. Only shallow people can't read past the scars to see the person underneath. For a long moment, Seojun just stared at her. Then something shifted in his expression. Surprise. Maybe hope. Something vulnerable that he quickly shuttered away. You're hired. The salary is what the agency quoted? 3.5 million won per month, plus room and board. I'll double it. 7 million won. The room is yours for as long as you need it, no additional charge. Medical insurance included. And if you're on a student visa, I can arrange work sponsorship through Kang Industries. He named these things like they were trivial, like he wasn't offering her a lifeline that would solve every problem currently destroying her sleep. Why? The word escaped before Zara could stop it. You don't know anything about me. I could be terrible at cleaning. Seojun smiled then, that crooked, damaged smile, and Zara felt something shift in her chest. Because you looked at my face and called someone else an idiot for judging it. Because you're the first person in 8 years to meet my eyes without flinching. Because... He paused. Because I think we might understand each other in ways most people wouldn't. Zara should have been cautious, should have asked more questions, demanded references, done her due diligence. Instead, she heard herself say, "When do I start?" How about now? I'll have my assistant show you to your room. Take the weekend to settle in. Work begins Monday. He extended his hand across the desk. When Zara shook it, his grip was warm, firm, and somehow it felt like she'd just signed a contract for something far more complicated than housekeeping. Kang Seo-jun had built his life on control. Every decision calculated, every emotion carefully managed, every interaction precisely orchestrated to minimize exposure to the pity or disgust in people's eyes. The accident 8 years ago had stolen more than his parents. It had stolen his face, his fiancée, who'd broken their engagement from his hospital bed, his social life, his confidence, everything that made him human beyond his brain and his bank account. So he'd done what any rational person would do. He'd become someone who didn't need other people. He'd thrown himself into the family business, doubled the company's profits in 3 years, became the youngest CEO in Kang Industries' 80-year history. He'd made himself indispensable, irreplaceable, too valuable to dismiss despite the face that made board members uncomfortable during presentations. But now his grandfather was dying. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer, 6 months at most. And the old man's final wish was to see Seo-jun married, settled, producing the next generation of Kang heirs. Traditional Korean family values demanded it. The company bylaws required it. Seo-jun's cousin Minho was circling like a shark, ready to take everything if Seo-jun failed to meet the requirements for succession. 18 rejections. 18 women who'd looked at his file, seen the money, agreed to meet, then found convenient reasons to decline once they'd seen his face. The last one had actually gasped and covered her mouth like she might vomit. He'd stopped feeling the pain of rejection after the 10th. Now it was just exhausting, humiliating, A reminder that in the end, no amount of success could change the fundamental fact that he was damaged goods. Until Zara Williams walked into his office and called his previous maid an idiot. Seojun watched through his office window as his assistant showed Zara to the maid's quarters, a small suite of rooms on the service level that he'd had renovated last year. Nice rooms, better than most Seoul apartments, but still separate from his own space. Still maintaining the hierarchy. She moved with unconscious grace, her dark skin glowing under the hallway lights. Her natural hair pulled back in a practical style that somehow looked elegant anyway. She was beautiful in a way that had nothing to do with conventional Korean standards. Tall, curvy, with an open, expressive face that showed every emotion as it crossed her features. But more than her appearance, it was the way she'd looked at him. Not with pity, not with revulsion, just direct human connection. Like his scars were a fact, not a tragedy. Like she saw him. "You hired her." Jiwon's voice came from behind him. "The maid." "I need a housekeeper. She needs a job." "And the fact that she didn't run screaming had nothing to do with it?" Seojun turned from the window. Don't what? Point out that you just offered a stranger a double salary and work sponsorship because she was kind to you for 30 seconds? Jiwon's expression softened. "I'm not judging. I'm saying maybe this is exactly what I meant earlier. Someone real. Someone who doesn't care about your money or your face or your family name. She's my employee. That's all. For now." Jiwon headed for the door, then paused. "But Seojun? The way you looked at her when she called you a survivor? That wasn't an employer looking at an employee. That was a man who hasn't been seen in years, finally being visible to someone." After Jiwon left, Seojun returned to his desk and pulled up Zara's application file. The agency had been thorough. Zara Williams, 28, American citizen, formerly a nursing student at Spelman College before her father died and the money ran out. Came to Korea on a language scholarship to Yonsei, graduated with honors, been working various part-time jobs since her visa restrictions eased. No criminal record, multiple references from previous employers, all glowing. Volunteer work at a children's hospital, fluent in Korean, English, and conversational Japanese. But what the file didn't show was the way she'd looked at him without flinching. The way her voice had held genuine anger on his behalf. The way she'd made him feel, for just a moment, like a person instead of a monster. Dangerous, his mind whispered. This was dangerous. Employees were supposed to stay employees. Lines were supposed to stay drawn. He couldn't afford to let anyone close enough to hurt him again. But even as he thought it, Seojun knew it was already too late. Something had shifted in that 30-second conversation. Something he couldn't unshift. The weekend passed in careful avoidance. Zara settled into her new room, explored the penthouse when Seojun wasn't around, and tried to convince herself that working for a scarred billionaire who made her heart race was totally normal and definitely wouldn't become complicated. Monday morning destroyed that illusion. Zara was in the kitchen at 6 a.m., preparing breakfast according to the detailed instructions left by the previous housekeeper. Simple Korean fare. Rice, soup, banchan, grilled fish. She'd just finished plating when Seojun entered, dressed in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than her entire year's salary. "Good morning," she said, setting the breakfast on the dining table. "I wasn't sure what you liked, so I followed the meal plan. If you have preferences, this is perfect," He sat down, gestured to the chair across from him. "Eat with me." Zara froze. "I don't think that's appropriate. You're my employer. You're living in my home, eating my food, working impossible hours. The least I can do is provide company during meals." His tone left no room for argument. "Please, eating alone gets lonely." The vulnerability in that last word undid her. Zara sat. They ate in silence for a few minutes before Seojun spoke. "Tell me about your father. The application mentioned he passed away." "House fire." The words still hurt 3 years later. "He was a firefighter. Went back into a burning building to rescue a child. Got the kid out. Didn't make it out himself." She swallowed hard. "He died a hero. But heroes don't pay medical bills or college tuition." Seojun was quiet for a moment. "My parents died in a car accident. Drunk driver hit us head on. They died instantly. I was trapped in the car while it burned." He touched his scarred face absently. "Sometimes I think they were the lucky ones." Zara's hand moved without permission, covering his on the table. Don't say that. You survived. That means something." His eyes met hers, and the electricity that passed between them was undeniable. Dangerous. Seojun pulled his hand away gently. "I should get to work. Board meeting at 9. As he stood to leave, his phone rang. He answered in Korean, his expression darkening with each word. When he hung up, his jaw was tight. My grandfather wants to meet you." "Me? Why?" "Because apparently news travels fast in my family, and someone told him I hired a live-in housekeeper." Sojun's smile was bitter. "He probably thinks I've finally found someone desperate enough to marry me." "That's horrible." "That's reality." He grabbed his briefcase. "Dinner tonight. My grandfather's estate. Wear something nice. And Zara?" He paused at the door. "I'm sorry in advance for whatever he says. My family isn't kind." After he left, Zara stood in the empty kitchen, her hand still tingling from where she'd touched him, and wondered what exactly she'd just agreed to. The first week established a rhythm that felt both natural and impossibly intimate. Zara would wake at 5:30 a.m., prepare breakfast, clean the already immaculate penthouse, prepare lunch that Seojun rarely had time to eat, and finish with dinner at 7 p.m. sharp. But the actual work was never the point. The point was the moments in between, like Wednesday morning, when she found Seojun in his home office at 3 a.m., surrounded by financial reports, dark circles under his eyes. She'd made tea without asking, set it on his desk, and said simply, "Sleep is a thing successful people do sometimes." He'd looked up, surprised she was awake. "Can't sleep? I heard you pacing." The penthouse was large, but not large enough to hide the sound of someone walking the same hallway for 2 hours. "Bad dreams? Memories?" He'd taken the tea, their fingers brushing. That same electric shock. "The accident, sometimes I still smell the smoke." Zara had sat down across from him without invitation. "My dad used to say that trauma lives in your body until you let it out. You box it up, it finds other ways to escape. Nightmares, anxiety, pacing at 3 a.m. Your father sounds like he was wise." He was. She'd smiled sadly. and stubborn and brave and terrible at asking for help, which is ultimately what killed him. Seojun had studied her face in the dim light. You think I'm terrible at asking for help? I think you've convinced yourself you don't need it. There's a difference. She'd stood up. But for what it's worth, Mr. Kang, everyone needs help sometimes. Even billionaire CEOs with trust issues. Call me Seojun, at least when we're alone. He'd said it quietly, almost shyly. Mr. Kang is who I am at work. Here, I'd like to just be me. Okay, Seojun. His name felt intimate in her mouth. Then you have to call me Zara, not Miss Williams like you've been doing. Deal. He'd smiled that crooked smile, and Zara's heart had done something complicated in her chest. By Friday, they'd fallen into easy conversation over meals. He told her about the company, the pressure from his grandfather, the cousin who wanted his position. She told him about nursing school, her mother's diabetes, her dreams of one day opening a clinic in underserved communities. Why nursing? He asked over dinner. Because my dad saved people. When he died, I realized that's what I wanted too, to save people. She paused. But then I ran out of money and ended up here, cleaning houses instead of healing them. You still heal people. Seojun's voice was soft. You've healed more of me in 1 week than therapists managed in 8 years. The air between them shifted, became charged. Zara stood abruptly. I should clean up. Leave it. Seojun stood too, moving closer. Zara, His phone buzzed. Business. Always business. The moment shattered. But as Zara lay in bed that night, she could still feel the heat of him standing close, could still hear the way he'd said her name, like it meant something. This was dangerous. She was his employee. He was her boss. There were lines that shouldn't be crossed. But God, she wanted to cross them. The dinner with Seojun's grandfather was scheduled for Saturday evening. Zara spent the day anxious, trying on the 3 nice outfits she owned and finding them all lacking for whatever test she was about to face. At 4 p.m., there was a knock on her door. Seojun's assistant stood there with garment bags. Mr. Kang had these sent for you, for tonight. Inside were 3 designer dresses, each more beautiful than the last. Elegant, sophisticated, clearly chosen by someone with taste. A note in Seojun's handwriting. Choose whichever makes you feel confident. You'll need armor tonight. Zara chose the midnight blue dress, simple but stunning, and felt like she was putting on battle gear. The car ride to the Kang estate was tense. Seojun sat beside her in the back of his Mercedes, jaw tight, hands clenched. My grandfather is going to be cruel. He'll say things designed to test you, to break you. If it becomes too much, just tell me. We'll leave. Why would he be cruel to me? He doesn't even know me. Because you're black, foreign, and in his mind, clearly after the family money. Seojun's voice was bitter. My grandfather is many things, but progressive isn't one of them. Zara took his hand without thinking. Hey, look at me. When he did, she said firmly, I've survived racism, poverty, loss, and 2 years in a country where I'm constantly the outsider. One judgmental old man doesn't scare me. Seojun's fingers tightened around hers. You're extraordinary. Do you know that? I'm stubborn. There's a difference. But she didn't let go of his hand. The Kang estate was massive, traditional Korean architecture mixed with modern wealth. Inside, The grandfather, Kang Dae-jung, sat like an emperor on a throne, surrounded by family members who all turned to stare when Seo-jun and Zara entered. So, the old man's voice was sharp as a blade. This is the American Maid. This is Zara Williams, Seo-jun corrected, his voice hard. And she's here as my guest, which means she'll be treated with respect. Respect is earned, boy. Dae-jung's eyes raked over Zara. Tell me, Miss Williams, how much is my grandson paying you to pretend to care about him? The room went silent. Seo-jun's entire body tensed beside her. This was the test. Zara stepped forward, away from Seo-jun's protective presence, and met the old man's eyes directly. Nothing. He pays me to clean his house. I care about him for free because, unlike everyone else in his life, I actually see him. You see him? Dae-jung laughed mockingly. You see a scarred man who will never find a real wife, who will never produce heirs, who will lose everything because he's too proud to accept his limitations. I see a man who rebuilt a company while dealing with trauma that would destroy most people. Zara's voice was steady, strong. I see someone intelligent, kind, and brave enough to survive when survival would have been easier than living. And I see a family that's too blind to recognize what they have. She turned to Seo-jun, whose expression was stunned. I'm sorry. I can't watch them treat you like this. I'm leaving. She looked back at Dae-jung. You can keep your cruel tests and your judgments. Your grandson deserves better than all of you. Zara walked out, her heart pounding, half expecting Seo-jun to stay behind. Instead, she heard his footsteps following her. Zara, wait! She turned in the courtyard. I'm sorry. I probably just cost you your inheritance. Seo-jun kissed her. Right there in his grandfather's courtyard, with probably half the family watching through windows. His hands cupped her face, gentle despite the passion, and Zara felt the world tilt on its axis. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Seo-jun rested his forehead against hers. Thank you. No one has ever defended me like that. Then everyone else is an idiot, she whispered. Behind them, Dae-jung's voice carried from the doorway. Bring her back inside. I want to talk to the girl who just told me off in my own house. The conversation with Dae-jung wasn't what Zara expected. Once they were alone in his study, the old man's expression shifted from cruel to calculating. You love him. Not a question. Zara's heart stuttered. I work for him. Don't lie to me, girl. I've been reading people for 70 years. You look at my grandson like he hung the moon. Dae-jung poured tea with surprising gentleness. The question is whether you're clever enough to use it or foolish enough to mean it. What do you want from me? I want to know if you'll break his heart. The old man's eyes were sharp. Seo-jun has been broken enough. If you're playing games, leave now. But if you're serious, he paused. Marry him. Zara nearly choked on her tea. Excuse me? Marry my grandson. Give the family heirs. In exchange, I'll ensure you never want for anything. Your mother's medical bills? Paid. Your education? Funded. Citizenship? Visa sponsorship? Anything you need. He slid a document across the desk. A contract. 1 year of marriage. If you choose to leave after that, you'll receive a settlement of 10 billion won. If you stay, you become part of the family. This is insane. This is business. Seo-jun needs a wife to inherit. You need security. You clearly care for each other. Where's the problem? The problem is, he doesn't know about this. Zara stood up. I'm not going to trap him into a marriage he doesn't want. He wants it. Daijung's voice was certain. I saw how he looked at you. How he followed you out of my house. My grandson has been dead inside for 8 years. You brought him back to life. That's worth more than any dowry. I need to talk to him. Then talk. But know this. Minho is already spreading rumors that Seojun is unfit to lead because of his face, his isolation. The board meets in 2 weeks to vote on succession. If Seojun isn't married by then, I cannot protect his position. The old man's expression softened slightly. I am dying, Miss Williams. I want to know my grandson will be cared for before I go. Can you do that? Zara left the study feeling like she'd just been hit by a truck. Marriage to Seojun. A year contract with an escape clause. It should have felt transactional, cold. Instead, her heart was racing because some part of her wanted it. Wanted him. Seojun was waiting by the car, anxious. What did he say to you? He offered me 10 billion won to marry you for a year. Seojun's face went white, then red with fury. He did what? Zara, I didn't know. I swear I had no idea he would. I know. She took his hand. But Seojun, would it be so terrible, being married to me? He stared at her like she'd spoken another language. Are you serious right now? Your cousin is trying to take your company. You need a wife to inherit. I need visa sponsorship and security. She stepped closer. We care about each other. We're already living together. Why not make it official? Because you deserve better than a business arrangement. His voice was rough with emotion. You deserve someone who can give you a real marriage, not a scarred recluse. Zara kissed him quiet. You're an idiot if you think your scars matter to me. I'm proposing a partnership. 1 year. We'll figure out the details. But Seojun... She met his eyes. I'm choosing this. I'm choosing you. The question is, will you choose me back? The answer came a week later, in the worst possible way. Zara was grocery shopping in Gangnam when she heard the whispers. Korean was a gift when people assumed you didn't speak it. The 2 women behind her in line were talking about Kang Seojun's newest charity case. Did you see the photos? She's black, living in his penthouse. Everyone knows what that means. Desperate. He probably has to pay women to touch him now. I heard she's an illegal immigrant, using him for visa sponsorship. Zara's hands clenched around her shopping basket. She turned, ready to confront them in perfect Korean, when a hand touched her shoulder. Seojun had appeared from nowhere, dressed in a casual sweater and jeans that made him look younger, more vulnerable. Ready to go, Hagya? The endearment, my love, made Zara's heart stop. The 2 gossiping women went pale, realizing who'd been listening. Seojun's smile was cold as winter. Ladies, I couldn't help but overhear your conversation about my fiancé. You should be more careful where you spread lies. Defamation laws in Korea are quite strict. Mr. Kang, you didn't mean for me to hear you insult the woman I love? How unfortunate for you. He turned to Zara, his expression softening. Let's go home. Outside, Zara exhaled shakily. Fiancé? Seojun took her hand, pulled her into a quiet alcove between shops. Yes, fiancé, because I'm done hiding. I'm done letting people think they can talk about you, about us, without consequences. His scarred face was fierce, determined. Marry me, Zara. Not because my grandfather demanded it, not because of business, Marry me, because I'm falling in love with you and I'm terrified to do it alone. Seo-jun, I know it's fast. I know there are 1,000 reasons to say no. But Zara, you make me want to be brave again. You make me feel like I'm worth something beyond my bank account. His thumb stroked over her knuckles. 1-year contract. After that, if you want to leave, I'll let you go. But please, give us a chance. Zara thought about her mother's medical bills, her visa running out, her student debt. The practical reasons to say yes were overwhelming. But what made her answer had nothing to do with practicality. I'm falling in love with you too, she admitted. That's what scares me. What if I'm not enough? What if your family destroys us? What if... He kissed her, gentle and thorough, until her fears quieted. Then we'll figure it out together. Partners, remember? Partners, she agreed. But Seo-jun, I need you to know, I don't care about your money. I care about you. The man who drinks tea at 3 a.m. and works too hard and has the kindest heart I've ever known. If we do this, we do it as equals. Equals, he promised. And Zara, thank you for seeing me, really seeing me. That night, they called his grandfather with the news. Dae-jung's laugh was triumphant. I knew that girl had sense. Wedding in 2 weeks. I want to be there before I die. As Zara and Seo-jun stood on his penthouse balcony, looking out over Seoul, his arm around her waist, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. Maybe this partnership would become something real. Maybe she'd found her person in the most unexpected place. Maybe, just maybe, they could build something beautiful from their broken pieces. The engagement announcement made national news. Kang Industries' heir to wed American woman, read the headlines, accompanied by photos from the press conference. Seo-jun had insisted on doing it properly, standing beside Zara in front of cameras, holding her hand, refusing to hide. The public reaction was mixed. Some praised Seo-jun's modern choice. Most questioned Zara's motives. A few were openly racist, their comments on social media vicious enough that Seo-jun's legal team immediately filed defamation suits. But through it all, Zara and Seo-jun grew closer. Stolen moments in the penthouse kitchen. Late-night conversations about everything and nothing. The careful dance of two people falling in love while trying not to rush. Until the night Zara couldn't sleep and found Seo-jun on the balcony at midnight, champagne in hand. Celebrating, she asked, stepping out into the cool air. Surviving, he poured her a glass. Did you see the article in Korea Times? They called you a diversity hire for my personal life. I've been called worse. Zara took the champagne, stood beside him at the railing. The city glittered below them like scattered stars. My personal favorite was gold-digging opportunist with an expiration date. I'm going to sue them all. Don't. It's not worth it. She touched his arm. Let them talk. We know the truth. Seo-jun turned to face her, setting down his glass. And what's the truth, Zara? The question hung between them, heavy with possibility. Zara's heart hammered. The truth is, I didn't expect this, any of this. I came to Korea to study, to escape my grief. I ended up cleaning houses to survive. She met his eyes. And then I met you, and suddenly, surviving wasn't enough anymore. Suddenly, I wanted to live. Zara. Her name was a prayer in his mouth. His hand came up to cup her face, his thumb tracing her cheekbone with devastating gentleness. I'm going to kiss you now. Really kiss you. And if you want me to stop, don't stop. The kiss was nothing like the chaste pecks they'd exchanged for cameras. This was fire and need and months of tension finally breaking. Seojun's hands tangled in her hair. Zara's fingers clutched his shirt, pulling him closer, wanting to eliminate every inch of space between them. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Seojun rested his forehead against hers. Come inside. Please. Let me... He stopped, suddenly uncertain. I don't want to rush you. But God, Zara, I want you. Her answer was to take his hand and lead him inside. His bedroom was as minimalist as the rest of the penthouse, all clean lines and neutral colors. But when Seojun turned to her in the dim light, there was nothing neutral about the want in his eyes. I need you to know something, he said, voice rough. Since before the accident, no one's wanted to. He touched his scarred face self-consciously. Zara's heart broke and melted simultaneously. She stepped close, took his hand from his face, and placed it over her heart. Feel that? That's my heart racing because of you. Not despite your scars. Because of everything you are. She kissed his scarred cheek, then his damaged temple, then the corner of his mouth where the burn had pulled his smile crooked. Every part of you is beautiful to me. Seojun's breath hitched. When he kissed her again, there were tears on his cheeks that might have been his or hers or both. They made love slowly, carefully, learning each other's bodies like sacred texts. Afterward, Zara lay in his arms, listening to his heartbeat, feeling safer than she'd felt in years. I love you, Seojun whispered into her hair. I know it's too soon. I know we started this as business. But Zara, I love you. Really, truly love you. I love you too. She tilted her head up to kiss him. This stopped being business the moment you looked at me like I mattered. They fell asleep tangled together, neither wanting to let go. The next morning, everything changed. Zara woke to an empty bed and the sound of shouting from the living room. She pulled on one of Seojun's shirts and padded out to find him standing in front of his television, his face carved from stone. On the screen, a morning news show was running a special investigation into their engagement. Photos of Zara filled the screen, but not recent photos. These were from 2 years ago, from Atlanta, from before. Sources close to Miss Williams claim she has a history of targeting wealthy men. Hospital records show she was treated for injuries allegedly inflicted by a previous boyfriend, though no charges were filed. Friends say she left America to escape debt collectors and a troubled past. Turn it off. Zara's voice was shaking. Please, turn it off. Seojun muted the television but didn't turn to face her. Is it true? Did you have a violent ex-boyfriend? Yes. The word tasted like ash. His name was Marcus. We dated for 2 years. He seemed perfect until he wasn't. Until the hitting started. Until I ended up in the emergency room 3 times. She wrapped her arms around herself. I left. I pressed charges. He got 6 months. When he was released, he started stalking me. That's why I came to Korea, to get away from him. Why didn't you tell me? Because it's not exactly great first date conversation. Hi, I'm Zara. I like long walks and have a violent ex who might follow me across oceans. Her voice broke. I didn't want you to see me as broken, as a victim. Seojun finally turned to face her. I would never... Wouldn't you? Everyone does. The moment they know, I become the abuse victim. Not Zara. Not a person. Just a tragic story. Tears streamed down her face. I wanted you to see me. Just me. Not my past. Zara? He reached for her, but she stepped back. Who leaked this? How did they even find out about Marcus? That part of my life is sealed in U.S. court records. Seojun's jaw clenched. Only one person has the resources and motivation to dig that deep. He pulled out his phone, dialed. Minho, my office, now. 20 minutes later, Seojun's cousin walked into the penthouse with a smirk that made Zara want to slap him. Kang Minho was everything Seojun wasn't. Classically handsome, socially polished, utterly soulless. Cousin and the American bride. How domestic. Minho's eyes raked over Zara in Seojun's shirt. Nice look. Very morning after. You leaked her medical records to the press. Seojun's voice was deadly calm. That's a federal crime in the U.S., not to mention a HIPAA violation. I have no idea what you're talking about, but if some enterprising journalist did their homework on your fiancé's interesting past, well... Minho shrugged. The public has a right to know who's marrying into the Kang family. Why are you doing this? Zara asked. What did I ever do to you? You're in my way. Minho's smile was vicious. Seojun was supposed to fail. Supposed to be too broken, too scarred, too pathetic to find a wife. The company was supposed to come to me. He turned to Seojun. But then you found her. Your little American savior. Your convenient solution. She's not a solution. She's my fiancée. For now. But how long before she realizes she's shackled herself to a monster? How long before she sees what everyone else sees when they look at you? Minho stepped closer to Seojun. You're damaged goods, cousin. No amount of money changes that. Seojun's fist connected with Minho's face before anyone could react. The punch was precise, brutal, sending Minho stumbling backward, blood streaming from his nose. Get out of my house! Seojun's voice was low, dangerous. And if you ever speak about Zara again, if you ever leak another story, I will destroy you. Not legally, personally. After Minho left, Seojun turned to Zara. His hand was already swelling, knuckles split. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have hit him in front of you. I'm not angry you hit him. Zara took his injured hand gently. I'm angry that he made you believe his poison. You're not damaged goods, Seojun. You're the strongest person I know. But the seed of doubt had been planted. The media frenzy only intensified after Minho's leaked story. Paparazzi camped outside the building. Reporters called Zara's mother in Atlanta to Every detail of her past was dissected, analyzed, judged. Through it all, Seojun became increasingly distant. He worked longer hours, came home late, stopped joining her for meals. When Zara tried to talk to him, he was polite but closed off. The warmth they'd shared, the intimacy, all of it disappeared behind walls of ice. 1 week after the scandal broke, Zara found him in his office at 2 a.m., drinking scotch and staring at nothing. Talk to me, she pleaded. Please, you're shutting me out. I'm protecting you. His voice was flat, emotionless. Minho was right. Being with me is destroying your life. The media, the judgment, the constant invasion of privacy. You didn't sign up for this. I signed up for you. You signed up for a year-long contract, a business arrangement. He wouldn't look at her. Maybe we should just make it official. Pay you the settlement now. You can go back to America. Get away from all this. The words hit like physical blows. You're breaking our engagement? Because of gossip? I'm releasing you from an arrangement that's hurting you. Finally, he looked at her, and his eyes were empty. You deserve better than this, Zara. Better than me. Don't I get a say in what I deserve? No, because if I let you choose, you'll choose wrong. You'll choose me out of pity or obligation or love. The word exploded from her. I'd choose you out of love, you idiot. But apparently, you don't believe I could actually love you. Apparently, my feelings are just charity work. She turned to leave, then stopped at the door. For what it's worth, Seo-jun, you're the coward here, not me. I was willing to fight for us. You're the one running away. Zara packed her bags that night. By morning, she'd moved into a small apartment in Hongdae that one of her university friends helped her find. She left her engagement ring on Seo-jun's desk with a note. You were right. We wanted different things. I wanted a partner. You wanted to be alone. Good luck with that. For the next 3 days, she ignored his calls, deleted his texts unread, and tried to convince herself that leaving was the right choice. But late at night, in her empty apartment, she cried into her pillow and wondered why love had to hurt so much. On the 4th day, Zara's mother called from Atlanta, voice tight with fear. Baby, someone was at the house today. A man. He said he was a friend of yours from Korea. He knew things, Zara. Things about Marcus, about your past. He scared me. Ice flooded Zara's veins. What did he look like? Asian, expensive suit. He said to tell you that you'd made powerful enemies. Said you should go back to America before you got hurt. Minho. That bastard was threatening her family now. Zara called the one person she trusted. Not Seo-jun. That bridge was burned. His assistant, Miss Park, who'd always been kind to her. Miss Park, I need help. Kang Minho sent someone to my mother's house in Atlanta. He's threatening her. Stay where you are. Don't go anywhere alone. I'm calling Mr. Kang. No, I don't want him involved. Too late. 20 minutes later, Seo-jun's car pulled up outside her building. He emerged like an avenging angel, face thunderous, and Zara's traitorous heart leapt at the sight of him. He took the stairs 2 at a time, didn't bother knocking, just used the spare key she didn't know he had. Tell me everything. I don't need your help. Zara, I swear to God, if you try to be stubborn right now. He ran a hand through his hair. Minho threatened your mother. That's a crime. That's crossing a line even he shouldn't cross. Why do you care? You ended things, remember? Sent me away for my own good. I was wrong. The admission seemed to cost him. I was scared and stupid, and I pushed you away because I thought I was protecting you. But Zara, I never stopped loving you, and I will burn my cousin alive before I let him hurt you or your family. Zara wanted to stay angry, wanted to protect her heart, but the look in Seo-jun's eyes, raw, desperate, real, undid her. He's trying to destroy us, she said quietly. Every move we make, he counters, Every time we get close, he finds a way to tear us apart. Then we stop playing defense. Seojun pulled out his phone, started typing rapidly. I've been investigating Minho for weeks. He's not as clean as he pretends. Embezzlement, bribery, connections to criminal organizations. I have evidence, enough to destroy him. Then why haven't you used it? Because he's family. Because my grandfather would never forgive me for exposing Kang family secrets publicly. He looked at her. But if he's threatening you, threatening your mother, then family loyalty be damned. Zara's phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. You should have left when you had the chance. Now things get messy. Attached was a photo of her mother's house, recent, from today. He's escalating. Seojun's voice was deadly calm. He knows he's losing, so he's getting desperate. Zara, I need you to come back to the penthouse. It's secure. I can protect you there. I don't need protecting. I need a partner who trusts me. I do trust you. I trust you more than anyone. He took her hands. I was an idiot. A scared, scarred idiot who thought pushing you away would keep you safe. But I was wrong. We're stronger together. So please, come home. Let's end this together. Zara looked at their joined hands, at his scarred face full of hope and fear, and made her choice. Together, she agreed. But Seojun, after this is done, we're having a serious conversation about communication and trust. Deal. But first, we take down my cousin. Part 7. Climax. 1,700 words. The plan was simple. Draw Minho out, get him to confess, and record everything. Seojun had connections with the Korean prosecutor's office through his legal team. All they needed was hard evidence of Minho's threats and criminal activities, but plans never survived contact with desperate men. 2 days after Zara moved back into the penthouse, she received a call from a hospital in Atlanta. Miss Williams, your mother was admitted an hour ago. Possible heart attack. You should come immediately. Zara's world stopped. What? No, she was fine yesterday. Seojun grabbed the phone, spoke rapidly in English to the nurse. His face darkened with each word. When he hung up, his expression was granite. It's a trap. That wasn't a real hospital. The number routes to a burner phone. How do you know? Because I've been having your mother protected since Minho's first threat. She's fine. She's at a safe house in Atlanta with private security. He pulled up his phone, showed her a video call. Her mother, alive and healthy, waving from a comfortable apartment. Relief flooded through Zara so intensely, her knees buckled. Seojun caught her, held her steady. He's trying to get you alone, vulnerable, which means we're close. He's panicking. So what do we do? We give him what he wants. You, but on our terms. Seojun's smile was cold, calculating. Tomorrow night, the Kang Industries board meeting. Grandfather's final meeting before he officially names his successor. Minho will be there. So will we. And we're going to destroy him in front of everyone. The next evening, Zara dressed in armor. A blood-red dress that made her feel powerful, dangerous. Seojun wore a black suit that emphasized every line of authority in his body. Together, they looked like royalty walking into battle. The boardroom was full of Korea's most powerful business leaders. At the head of the table, Grandfather Dae-jung sat like a fading emperor, oxygen tube in his nose, but eyes still sharp. Minho sat across from him, confident, already acting like he'd won. Glad you could join us, cousin, Minho said smoothly. I was worried you'd be too busy consoling your fiancée about her mother's tragic heart attack. My mother is fine, Zara said coldly, walking to stand beside Seojun at the table. No thanks to you. Minho's smile faltered. I have no idea what you're talking about. Don't you? Seojun pressed a button on his phone. The boardroom's projection screen lit up. Then perhaps you can explain these financial records showing regular payments from your personal account to known members of the Jade Dragons gang. Murmurs rippled through the board members. On screen, bank statements showed wire transfers, each one carefully documented with dates and amounts. Minho's face paled. Those are fabricated. Are they? Another click. This time, audio played. Minho's voice, clear and unmistakable. I need dirt on the American girl. Medical records, criminal history, whatever you can find. Money's no object. That was taken illegally. Was it? Seojun's voice was ice. Or was it recorded by a concerned citizen who noticed suspicious activity and reported it to authorities? Because I have timestamps showing you hired a private investigator to illegally access sealed medical records in the United States. That's a federal crime. Extradition treaty between Korea and the U.S. means you could face charges in both countries. The room erupted, board members shouting, demanding explanations. Minho stood, his chair scraping back. You self-righteous bastard! You think you're better than me? You're a freak. A scarred monster who had to buy a wife because no one would touch you. The slap came from an unexpected source. Grandfather Dae-jung had risen from his chair, struck his grandson across the face with surprising strength for a dying man. Enough! The old man's voice was thunder. I raised you better than this, Minho. Or I thought I did. He turned to the board. My grandson has admitted to criminal activity, threatened an innocent woman, and attempted to manipulate this company for personal gain. I hereby remove him from all positions within Kang Industries, effective immediately. Grandfather, you can't... I can, and I will. Security, escort him out. Dae-jung sat back down heavily, suddenly looking every one of his 80 years. Seojun, the company is yours. You've proven you have the integrity and strength to lead. But Seojun wasn't looking at his grandfather or the board. His eyes were locked on Minho, who'd pulled something from his jacket pocket. A gun. If I can't have it, neither can you. Minho's hand shook as he pointed the weapon at Seojun. Everything happened at once. Zara lunged forward, shoving Seojun aside. The gun fired. Security tackled Minho, and Zara felt burning pain explode through her left shoulder as the bullet hit. She hit the ground hard, Seojun's scream echoing in her ears. Zara! No, no, no! His hands pressed against her shoulder, trying to stop the bleeding. His scarred face hovered over hers, tears streaming down his cheeks. Stay with me. Please, stay with me. I love you. God, I love you so much. I know. Her voice was weak but steady. I love you too. That's why I couldn't let him. Her vision was going dark around the edges. She heard sirens, shouting, chaos. But all she could focus on was Seojun's face, the way he was looking at her like she was his entire world. Don't you dare leave me, he begged. Don't you dare. Not planning to, she whispered. We have a wedding to plan. Then darkness took her. Zara woke in a private hospital room, sunlight streaming through windows overlooking the Han River. Her shoulder throbbed with pain, but she was alive. The monitor beside her bed beeped steadily, reassuringly. Seojun was asleep in the chair beside her, his hand wrapped around hers, even in sleep. He looked exhausted, his face drawn, dark circles under his eyes. He was still wearing his suit from the board meeting, now stained with her blood. "How long?" she croaked, her throat dry. He jerked awake instantly. "Zara! Oh God, you're awake!" He pressed the call button for the nurse, then turned back to her, his eyes red-rimmed. 2 days. You've been unconscious for 2 days. The bullet missed anything vital, but you lost a lot of blood. Minho? In custody. Multiple charges, attempted murder, assault, embezzlement, HIPAA violations. He's looking at 20 years minimum. Seojun's hand tightened on hers. "But Zara, you could have died. You pushed me out of the way. You took a bullet meant for me." "Of course I did." She managed a weak smile. "You think I'd let that asshole ruin my wedding plans?" "This isn't funny." His voice broke. "I watched you fall. Watched you bleeding on that boardroom floor. I thought I'd lost you. I thought..." He couldn't finish, just pressed her hand to his lips. "Hey." Zara used her good arm to cup his face, feeling tears on his cheeks. "I'm okay. I'm right here. And I'm not going anywhere. You're the bravest person I've ever known." He kissed her palm, her wrist, her fingertips. "Braver than me. Stronger than me. I don't deserve you." "Probably not," she agreed with a tired smile. "But you're stuck with me anyway. I didn't take a bullet just to let you push me away again." "Never again." Seojun climbed carefully onto the hospital bed beside her, mindful of her injury. "I'm never letting you go. I'm never being stupid enough to think I'm protecting you by pushing you away. You're mine, Zara Williams. My partner, my equal, my everything." "Damn right I am." She rested her head against his shoulder. "So when's the wedding? Your grandfather said 2 weeks. I've been unconscious for 2 days. That gives us 12 days to plan." "You were shot. We can postpone." "We're not postponing. Minho tried to kill us and failed. I'm not giving him the satisfaction of delaying our happiness." She looked up at him. "Besides, I have the perfect wedding dress in mind. Red, to match the blood I shed defending my idiot fiancé." Seojun laughed, the sound wet with tears and relief. "You're insane." "You love me anyway." "I love you because of it." He kissed her forehead, gentle and reverent. "Thank you for saving my life. Thank you for making my life worth saving." She closed her eyes, feeling safe despite the pain, despite everything. "Now let me sleep. I need to be healed enough to walk down the aisle in 12 days. Stubborn woman. You're stubborn woman. Forever," he promised. "My stubborn, brave, impossible woman. Forever." The news media went insane with the story. Kang Industries heir nearly assassinated, fiancé takes bullet, read every headline. The photos of Minho being led away in handcuffs were plastered across every news site, every social media platform. But the narrative had shifted. No longer was Zara the gold-digging foreigner. Now she was the hero who saved Korea's youngest billionaire CEO. Public opinion swung dramatically in her favor. The same netizens who'd called her an opportunist now praised her courage. Grandfather Dae-jung visited her hospital room 3 days after the shooting. He looked frailer than ever, his skin paper-thin, but his eyes were clear. You saved my grandson's life. It wasn't a question. I love him. That's what you do for people you love. I misjudged you, Miss Williams. I thought you were after money, status. I thought you were using Seo Jun's loneliness. The old man's voice was rough with emotion. I was wrong. You saw him, really saw him, when the rest of the world only saw his scars. Someone once told me that scars are just proof you survived something that tried to kill you. They're not shameful. They're armor. Zara met his eyes. Seo Jun is the strongest person I know. His scars are beautiful to me because they show he refused to quit. Dae-jung was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached into his jacket and pulled out a small box. Inside was a ring, antique, Korean craftsmanship, clearly an heirloom. This was my wife's engagement ring. I'd like you to have it. Not as payment, as family. Tears pricked Zara's eyes. Sir, I can't. You can and you will. You're going to be a Kang. That means something in this country. It means you'll face scrutiny, judgment, people who think you don't belong. He closed her hand around the box. But it also means you have the full weight of this family behind you. Anyone who disrespects you, disrespects us all. After he left, Seojun returned from making phone calls. Zara showed him the ring. He gave you grandmother's ring. Seojun's voice was thick with emotion. He never even let my mother wear it. He said he was saving it for someone worthy. Guess I'm worthy now. You always were. He kissed her softly. To me, you always were. The wedding happened exactly 12 days after the shooting, just as Zara had insisted. She walked down the aisle with her left arm in a decorative sling that matched her dress, ivory with red embroidered flowers, a fusion of traditional Korean and Western styles that perfectly symbolized their union. Her mother flew in from Atlanta, healthy and sobbing happy tears. Seo Jun's family, those who mattered, filled the other side of the aisle. Grandfather Dae-jung sat in the front row, oxygen tank beside him, but smiling for the first time in years. The ceremony was bilingual, Korean and English, Buddhist and Christian elements woven together. When the officiant asked if anyone objected, the entire room tensed, but only silence followed. Minho was behind bars. The threats were gone. I, Kang Seo-jun, take you, Zara Williams, to be my wife. His voice was steady, clear, his scarred face radiant with joy. I promise to see you as you see me. Not as broken, but as whole. Not as damaged, but as beautiful. I promise to be your partner, your equal, your home. I, Zara Williams, take you, Kang Seo-jun, to be my husband. Her voice rang out strong despite the pain medication making her slightly dizzy. I promise to fight beside you, not behind you. To love you not in spite of your scars, but because of everything they represent. Your strength, your survival, your refusal to quit. I choose you today and every day after. When they kissed, the room erupted in applause. Cameras flashed. Someone in the back, Ji-won, whooped loudly. At the reception, held in the ballroom of Seoul's most exclusive hotel, they had their first dance. Seojun held her carefully, mindful of her injury, swaying gently to a Korean ballad that Zara didn't understand, but felt in her bones. No regrets? He whispered against her hair. Only that I didn't kiss you sooner. She pulled back to look at him. Think about it. We wasted weeks being professional and appropriate when we could have been doing this. Scandalous. The help fraternizing with the boss. The help who became the wife who became the co-owner of a pharmaceutical empire. Zara grinned. I'm very good at career advancement. You're very good at stealing hearts. He spun her carefully, and her dress flared out like flower petals. Mine specifically. Later, cutting the cake, Zara caught her reflection in one of the ballroom mirrors. A black woman in a wedding dress, standing beside a scarred Korean man, surrounded by two cultures that didn't always mix. Two worlds that weren't supposed to touch. But here they were anyway, defying expectations, writing their own story. What are you thinking? Seojun asked, following her gaze. That we're going to be beautiful together. She laced her fingers through his. The world said we didn't fit. We proved them wrong. We did. He kissed her temple. And we'll keep proving them wrong, every single day. 3 months later, Zara woke in their shared bedroom. No longer the maid's quarters, but the master suite she'd helped redesign. To find Seojun already awake, watching her with that soft expression he only wore in private. Creeper, she mumbled, stretching carefully. Her shoulder had healed well, just a neat scar to match his collection. My wife is beautiful when she sleeps. I'm appreciating the view. He ran his finger down her arm, tracing patterns on her skin. How are you feeling? Good. Great, actually. She sat up, immediately noticing the breakfast tray on the bedside table. You made breakfast? I ordered breakfast. Let's not pretend I have domestic skills. He handed her coffee exactly how she liked it. 2 sugars, splash of cream. But I wanted to do something nice. 3-month anniversary. Of our wedding or our first kiss? Both. Either. Every moment with you deserves celebration. They ate in comfortable silence, the kind that only comes with true intimacy. Outside their windows, Seoul was waking up. Traffic sounds, construction noise, the hum of millions of lives intersecting. The board meeting is today, Seojun said eventually. Final vote on the new product line expansion into Africa. This was the project Zara had proposed. Affordable medications for underserved communities, starting with clinics in Nigeria and Ghana. Using her nursing background and Seojun's business acumen, they'd created a model that was both profitable and humanitarian. Nervous? She asked. Excited. This was your vision. You're changing lives, Zara. The woman who came here to clean houses is now saving them. Pride glowed in his voice. We're saving them. Partners, remember? She kissed him quickly. Now get dressed. You have a company to run. I have a conference call with the Atlanta clinic about setting up the sister program in the U.S. As they moved through their morning routine, Seojun in his study, Zara in her home office, she caught glimpses of him through the open doors. Her husband, her partner, the man who'd been rejected by everyone until she'd shown up and said yes. Her phone buzzed. A message from her mother. Just saw the news article about your clinic project. So proud of you, baby. Your father would be proud too. Tears pricked her eyes. She walked to Seojun's study, found him on a call. He mouthed, 5 minutes. But she shook her head, walked around his desk, and kissed him anyway. When he ended the call, abruptly, apologetically, he raised an eyebrow. What was that for? For seeing me, for choosing me, for building this life with me. Best decision I ever made. He pulled her onto his lap, now and always. 6 months later, the charity gala for the Kang Williams Foundation was in full swing. Seoul's elite mingled with international diplomats, all gathered to celebrate the opening of the 10th free clinic, this one in Busan, serving immigrant communities. Zara stood on the balcony of the venue, needing a moment away from the crowds. Her hand rested unconsciously on her stomach, where a tiny life was growing. They hadn't told anyone yet, only 3 months along, wanting to keep this joy private for a little longer. Hiding? Seojun appeared beside her, 2 glasses of sparkling cider in hand. He'd noticed immediately when she stopped drinking wine, had known before she'd even taken the test. Breathing. There are so many people in there. She accepted the cider gratefully. Your grandfather would have loved this, seeing the family name attached to something that actually helps people. Dae-jung had passed away 4 months ago, peacefully in his sleep, with Seojun holding one hand and Zara holding the other. His last words had been, "You chose well, grandson. She's fierce." He did love it. He told me, before he died, that you'd changed the family legacy, made it about more than money and power. Seojun wrapped his arm around her waist, his hand joining hers over their secret. How are you feeling? Any morning sickness? Not today. Baby Kang is being cooperative. She leaned into his warmth. Have you thought about names? If it's a girl, I like Hannah, for my mother, or Grace, for your grandmother. He kissed her temple. If it's a boy, maybe David, for your father. Tears welled in Zara's eyes. Even now, months into their marriage, he still found ways to show her that he valued her history, her family, her heart. David Kang. She tested the name. It's perfect. East and West. Like us. Inside, someone called for speeches. They returned to the ballroom hand in hand, and Zara took the microphone with confidence she'd earned through fire and bullets and love. A year ago, I was a maid, she began, her voice carrying across the room. I was broke, desperate, and convinced that my dreams of helping people were dead. Then I met a man, a scarred, brilliant, impossible man, who saw potential in me when I'd stopped seeing it in myself. She looked at Seojun, found him watching her with that expression that still made her heart race. People said we didn't fit. He was too rich. I was too foreign. He was damaged. I was using him, every possible excuse for why we shouldn't work. But here's what I learned. Love doesn't happen despite our scars. It happens because of them. Because scars mean we survived. We fought. We refused to let the worst moments of our lives define us. Her voice grew stronger. This foundation exists because 2 broken people decided to build something beautiful together.
These clinics will save lives because we refuse to accept that our pain was meaningless.
The applause was thunderous, but Zara only had eyes for Seojun, who'd joined her on stage, who took her hand and addressed the crowd himself. My wife is the bravest person I know. She took a bullet for me, literally. Scattered laughter. But more than that, she took a chance on me when no one else would. She looked past my face and saw my heart. That's the rarest gift anyone can give, to be truly seen. He turned to her, ignoring their audience. I love you, Zara Kang. Thank you for saving me. I love you too. She kissed him, soft and sweet. Thank you for letting me. Later, driving home through Seoul's glittering streets, Zara rested her head on Seo Jun's shoulder and thought about the journey that had brought them here. From maid to wife, from survival to purpose, from loneliness to love. They were never going to be a normal couple. His scars would always draw stares. Her skin would always mark her as different in this country. They would face challenges, racism, judgment, people who thought their marriage was performative or transactional. But they would face it together. Partners, equals, two people who'd found each other in the wreckage of their own stories and built something new, something eternal, something love. As they pulled into their building's garage, Seo-jun helped her out of the car with the careful attention he always showed. Ready to go home, Mrs. Kang? Always. She laced her fingers through his. As long as home is wherever you are. They walked into the elevator, into their penthouse, into the life they'd fought for, and earned, and chosen. And somewhere in the city below, their story became legend. The scarred boss and the brave maid who proved that love doesn't see scars. It sees souls.